Okay, go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. Two questions. First, Senator Manchin laid out the argument that election reform should be bipartisan because anything partisan would, quote, destroy the already weakening binds of our democracy. Does the president agree with that sentiment, or is that sentiment untenable because of the state level changes being pushed by Republicans?
Well, first let me say that the president knows he was elected to deliver for the American people. And his view is that that includes making voting more accessible for people across the country, making it easier and not harder to vote. And he's made clear that there's a real need for federal legislation to protect the sacred right to vote. And we are not going to wait for Congress either. That's why we've taken some steps through our Department of Justice, and also why he's asked the vice president to lead this effort, both in working with Congress, but also at the state level. Because as you noted, there are a number of problematic laws that have moved forward in states across the country. I think where we are at this point is clearly Senator Manchin has stated his point of view in his opinion piece over the weekend, which many of you, it sounds like, have read, as did we. But the president's view is that we need to move forward not just with the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, but also with legislation like the For the People Act, which enjoys, I should note, broad support from the American people, and because it does a couple of things that he thinks are essential. It provides basic protections for registering to vote and how we cast a ballot. It will prevent politicians from drawing congressional district lines for partisan advantage to ensure that people are choosing their representatives. It will help end the corrupting power of money in politics. Now, in terms of the path forward and what that looks like and the mechanics of how it moves forward in Congress, the president is quite open to and willing to work with anyone to enact common sense reforms that benefit the American people. We will stay lockstep with Democratic leadership on what that looks like from here, but I don't have anything to preview about the next steps.
Tomorrow, Joe Manchin is meeting, it's reported, he's meeting with civil rights leaders who pretty much align themselves with this administration. What are your hopes? Because, I mean, they seem like they could be your last hope, if there is any hope, to move him on his opposition against the For the People Act.
Well, look, I don't know that I can speak to a meeting that has no member of the administration is participating in, April, but I can tell you that the president is going to continue, and as are members of this administration who've been leading this effort, from Susan Rice to Cedric, to anyone who's at the highest level, and obviously to the vice president when she returns from her trip, to advocating for a path forward on how we can ensure that everyone knows their vote counts, that we make voting more accessible, that we make it easier, not harder. Those are fundamentals. The president, the vice president, other members of the administration will be open to, eager to have that discussion with anyone who wants to be constructive in that moving forward.
That his heart will change.
I'm not going to make a prediction about Senator Manchin's position on an issue. I'd point you to him to speak to that. Go ahead.